All right, what's going on, everybody? One day away from the big one. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Weigh-in already done. All the press conferences have been completed. All the talk is done, and we are ready. We are ready. Now, both guys weighed in. Tyson Fury weighed in at 264, Dillian Whyte 253. Dillian Whyte is 6 pounds heavier from the 247 that he weighed when he fought Alexander Povetkin in his last fight. And Tyson Fury is 13 pounds lighter than the 277 he weighed in his third fight with Deontay Wilder. So what does that mean? To me, I think Tyson Fury came in a little bit too heavy in his last fight. Obviously, there was some issues in the training camp. He was coming off COVID. His wife was having a baby. I think he only trained about 5 or 6 weeks. I think roughly five weeks for the fight. He was spending a lot of time in the hospital, eating hospital food, whatever, so that wasn't his best training camp. And coming in at 264, I think he'll have just enough size to be physically strong and have that power, and light enough to not be too heavy and sluggish. So he's got the best of both worlds, in my opinion, coming in at 264. Dillian Whyte, on the other hand, I think a guy who's had issues with stamina problems, I don't see how that extra 6 pounds will help him. I just don't see it. Let's break down the fight here. Everyone's talking about this big left hook of Dillian Whyte and how this could be the game changer in the fight, right? I get it. They're trying to sell Dillian Whyte as this guy who has a hope. He has that eraser, similar to what Deontay Wilder had with the right hand. But in my opinion, Deontay Wilder's right hand is the hardest punch in boxing. And Tyson Fury got up from it 4 times. 4 times he got up from it. And one time it looked like he wouldn't be able to get up from it. That's how hard of an impact it had on him. And another time when it hit him in the forehead, his whole body shook and rippled. That's how hard he got hit. And even the out of shape Tyson Fury, not the greatest conditioned Tyson Fury, right, got up from the right hand. And in my opinion, I think this is the best Tyson Fury has looked physically, in my opinion, since the Klitschko fight. Right? He looked really, really good at the weigh-in. Face looked, nice and bright. Looked like he looked very exuberant. And I think that this is the best version of Fury we're going to see. I question whether or not this is going to be the best Dillian Whyte that we're going to see. Spent so much time haggling over the money, the contract, talked about how disrespected he felt, put a lot of stress on himself, and took a lot of focus, in my opinion, possibly on the preparation for the fight itself, and really didn't worry about the fight itself. He's more concerned about being disrespected, more concerned about being flown around on a private jet, more concerned about how many tickets is he going to get for the fight, right? And even yesterday, he had, not an argument, but he had a discussion with Mauricio Suleiman, saying how much stress the situation put on him, how much money he lost, right? Going through the lawyers, right? So to me, that doesn't seem like a guy who's 100% totally focused on the fight, right? And I think a lot of people want Dillian Whyte to win. And because of their strong desire to see him win, and just because, for the simple fact that they're rooting for him so hard, I think their judgment is clouded. So let's get back to this left hook, right? Dillian Whyte's got this murderous left hook, and he does have a very good left hook. We're being told that he's got power on both hands, and he does have a decent right hand. Don't get me wrong, but the money punch is the left hook. That's the punch that puts guys to sleep, right? But when he does throw it, instead of just shooting that left hook from the elbow and just turning into it with the hip, a little quick, when he tends to throw it, there's always that little dip, and he likes to come up from the 45-degree angle and bring it up that way. He doesn't just shoot it. There's a little bit of a hitch. There's a little bit of a tell. Does that little dip, and he brings it up from the 45-degree angle, and then he evens it out, and it comes over the top. So there's a little tell there. Now, Tyson Fury has been knocked down 6 times in his career, right? Once in 2011 by a gentleman named Navan Pajic. Another time, 2013, by Steve Cunningham. And we all know the 4 times he was knocked down. Twice in the first fight with Deontay Wilder and twice in the third fight with Deontay Wilder. Now, there's one common denominator in all those knockdowns. He was knocked down by an overhand right. I've never seen him hurt by a left hook. I've never seen him knocked down by a left hook. I've never seen him wobbled or stumbled by a left hook, right? And Derek Chisora was another fighter, money punch, left hook. And we saw how Tyson Fury handled Derek Chisora, who I believe does fight in a very similar way to Dillian Whyte. I know a lot of people want to try to dismiss that, and they want to say that they don't fight the same, but they are very similar in their styles. And I didn't think Chisora had Fury hurt or in trouble in their 2 fights. I just didn't. The first fight was a little bit more competitive than the second, but I think Tyson Fury clearly won the first fight, and then we all saw how he stopped Derek Chisora in the second one. So again, the punch that hurt, that's been the Achilles heel for Tyson Fury, has been the overhand right. He has that Kronk style of hand positioning, keeps the lead hand low, and he keeps it out in front of him, far out in front of him, keeps it a little bit low, but he always has that backhand center of his face covering up the chin, right? So all he has to do is just turn, and he's defended by the left hook. Problem is sometimes when he jabs, right, and he leaves that hand out a little bit sometimes, doesn't do it often, but every now and then he'll do it, right? Leave that left hand out a little bit too long. That's when the overhand right can be delivered, right? No fighter's perfect, right? Every fighter has a weakness here and there. And the times when he's been hit by that overhand right, it's because the jab was left out there a little too long. And, he's jabbing down at a guy's chest or jabbing down at a shorter opponent, right? That's why the overhand right has been open. So this notion that Dillian Whyte is going to land this left hook, I'm not saying it's impossible, but history has shown us that is just not a punch that Tyson Fury gets hit with a lot. And he's been training southpaw. He's been hinting that he's going to fight a pretty good portion of this fight in the southpaw stance. Once again, it makes it even harder to land the left hook, right? Because when you're in that southpaw stance, right, what is the punch? That is the southpaw killer. It's the right hand, not the left hook. And it's harder to land that left hook because, again, Tyson Fury's lead hand is going to be out there. And for Dillian Whyte to land that left hook, he's going to have to get it past that lead right hand of Tyson Fury. So by going southpaw, it's going to be even harder for Dillian Whyte to get that left hook off. And the left hook really is a hard punch to land against a taller guy too, because you lose some leverage on it. The way you get leverage on a left hook is you bring it up, you shoot it from the 45-degree angle, bring it up and level it, and then you turn it over. So you turn it over. So if you're reaching up like this, right, less of your hip and less of your hip and less of your feet and less of the torque from your feet going to that punch because you're reaching up to land that left hook. It's one thing throwing an overhand right, because you can bring it up and come over the top with it, but a hook is more of a parallel punch when it's delivered. Come over the top with it, and the forearm is parallel. Where with an overhand right, you could go up and over the top with it and still bring your hip and your shoulder into it. Whereas the hook, if you're reaching up with it, it tends to be less hip and less pushing off with your knee and your toe, and it becomes more of an arm punch, right? So again, another reason why that left hook could be somewhat ineffective here. And, Dillian Whyte is a good inside fighter, right? Offensively. But I said this yesterday on the roundtable. I'm going to say it again here, right? Something Andre Ward said during that Super 6 tournament. He said a lot of guys can fight offensively on the inside, but they can't defend on the inside. And when he was getting ready to fight Froch, that's what he said about Froch, because Froch was a pretty decent inside fighter. He could shorten up his shots. You know how to shorten up his right hand, and he could rip the body shots up close. But one problem he had was he used to square up a lot, right? He used to square up a lot, and he gave you the center of his body, and he kept his head right on center line. And, he was there to be hit on the inside. And we saw what Andre Ward did to him on the inside. Dillian Whyte is another guy, and he got hit with that uppercut because against Povetkin, he got knocked out in that fight because what did he do? He squared up. Stood like this, and boom. If he was turned to the side, that uppercut would have had a smaller space to go through. It would have been harder to be delivered so perfectly. But if you're standing like this, you're right there. Instead of turning your body this way, and you're protecting your chin with your shoulder, when you go squared up, that chin is right there, right? And also your body's right there. You're giving your full body instead of the side profile of your body. Tyson Fury can fight on the inside offensively and defensively. And one of the biggest problems for opponents when they're trying to fight Tyson Fury on the inside is because he likes to grab you, maul you, wrap you up, wrestle you. He'll hold you with one arm, punch you with the other. He'll stick his forearm in your chest or in your neck, and then he'll be ripping your body with the other. Grab you over the top, put his hand on your shoulder, pull you down, and throw the uppercut on you. The old Lennox Lewis trick. The other thing that he does, something similar to what Foreman does, right? Is when he I told you he keeps that lead hand out there, but a lot of times he'll open the hand and he'll just kind of mush you in the face with it. Like he'll push you. He'll push your face a little bit, hit you in the shoulders. Just keep touching you and grabbing you with that hand. And he does it so subtly where it's hard to get penalized for it, right? Remember Foreman was doing that against Frazier? He had that lead hand out there, and he was kind of grabbing him and pushing him and maneuvering him with that left hand, and he was just being very pesky with that lead left hand. He's going to do that a lot to Dillian Whyte when Dillian Whyte's trying to get inside. And there's going to be times when Tyson Fury is going to welcome the inside fight. And that's exactly pugilism. Beautiful. Guard control. That's the appropriate word to use there. Exactly. Very good. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. So again, when Dillian Whyte's going to get inside, Tyson Fury's going to grab him. He's going to wrestle him. He's going to tie him up, walk him back, pull him down, twist him, turn him. And, he's just going to be wrestling him. Dillian Whyte doesn't fight like that. He'll be in there with you, right? But he doesn't wrestle and grapple and Doesn't do all those other little things that Tyson Fury does on the inside. Tyson Fury will grab you, put his weight down on you, lean on you a little bit, then let you come up. And when you come up, then he'll rip that right uppercut, or if he wants to, in the southpaw stance, or the left uppercut. It's just going to be a physically taxing fight for Dillian Whyte on the inside. And I'm not sure he's going to be as successful on the inside as he wants to be, or as people think he's going to be. So Tyson Fury can fight you on the outside, inside, mid-range. I mean, he can make it he could beat you with footwork, he could beat you off the back foot, beat you off the front foot. There's just too many ways for Tyson Fury to win this fight, right? And Dillian Whyte, I believe, tends to fade as the fight goes on, right? We saw him do that in several of his performances. And like I said, that extra 6 pounds, I don't think it's going to help him here, right? I just don't think it's going to help him here, because I think Tyson Fury's 6'9". He can carry extra weight. Dillian Whyte 6'4". I think ultimately his best weight is around 245-ish, right? 240, 245-ish, right? 253, 260, anything above that 245 mark, I just don't think it's a good weight for Dillian Whyte, if I'm being honest. Thank you so much, Sly. He says, the champ, Joe B. Fury looking solid. Yeah, you look good. You look good. You look good. So I think Tyson Fury is going to fight large portions of this fight in the southpaw stance. And I think that's going to be a deterrent for Dillian Whyte's left hook. I think, as pugilism said, he's going to have that lead hand out there, right? Use that as guard control to disrupt the forward momentum of Dillian Whyte. Then there's going to be times when Fury is going to want to get inside, going to want to make it rough a little bit just to change up the look. And that's where I think he's going to use his weight. He's going to use his mauling and wrestling tactics, and I think it's going to be very frustrating and just very taxing on Dillian Whyte. And I think as this fight goes on, I do see Tyson Fury just wearing Dillian Whyte down, and I'm predicting a 9th round stoppage in this fight. And something else I've noticed too, and maybe this is just me, I've seen and heard Dillian Whyte in interviews, seen him at the press conference, heard him talk, and to me, seems to be a little bit under the weather. His voice seemed a little bit hoarse. He was sniffling a lot, appeared to be congested. You know, he was traveling from Portugal to the UK, doing a lot of traveling and stuff, and there's just a different change in scenery. Sometimes when you do that, you tend to get sick. I suspect he may be a little bit under the weather. He may have a slight cold or something like that, and that definitely will have an impact on the performance. Other thing too is Tyson Fury seems to be in control of the situation. Like Dillian Whyte's trying to get angry. He's trying to be mad at him, right? He's trying to get angry. He's trying to be mad at him. But Tyson Fury just kind of jokes around with him, and he pulls Dillian Whyte into the show. You know, sitting there doing the fake tickle, and then he gets a smile out of Dillian Whyte. Like, Dillian Whyte really can't be mad at Tyson Fury. He was mad at Tyson Fury before. He was talking. They were both talking a little bit of trash, but once, Tyson Fury was face to face with him, he sort of walked into the beat of Tyson Fury's drum. He said this isn't the Tyson Fury show, but it is, because he controlled the narrative. He lightened up the mood. He was able to make the press conference cordial, right? He controlled when things were getting out of hand. He yelled out, "Get back, everybody! Stop!" And Dillian Whyte, to his credit, after Tyson Fury did that, he started doing that too. But Tyson Fury is more or less kind of run the show here. And to some degree, I even think he's manipulated Dillian Whyte and taken some of the edge off of Dillian Whyte a little bit. And to be honest, I think that's going to carry over into the ring, in my opinion. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But like I said, Tyson Fury just has a way of controlling the narrative. He's got a way of controlling the situation. And he's done that throughout his whole career, particularly in the Klitschko fights and even in the Deontay Wilder fights. He had Deontay Wilder putting headphones on, not even wanting to talk to him anymore because he realizes that I can't win the war of words with this guy, so I might as well just not talk to him at all. And Dillian Whyte kind of did the same thing when he went silent. I know he was saying that he didn't want to promote the fight, but I don't think anyone really wants to get into a war of words and, get into these verbal battles with Tyson Fury. So I like Tyson Fury big in this fight. I don't think it's going to be as competitive as people think. I hope I'm wrong because I want to see a good fight. But I just think, like I said, we saw what Tyson Fury did to Derek Chisora. I think this is a similar situation. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't buy into that, but I just think they're very similar fighters. And I think Dillian Whyte's style plays perfectly into Tyson Fury's. I see a lot of UK people in the chat picking Whyte. And let's be honest. I think you guys are betting with your heart. You're not really betting with your head. It's okay to root for Dillian Whyte. That's fine. I've rooted for guys, even though I didn't think they were going to win. I actually rooted for George Kambosos against Teofimo Lopez because his behavior was starting to aggravate me, and I just felt like I'd love to see George Kambosos win and just shut this kid up. But I didn't think he was going to win, and I was wrong, and I was glad I was wrong. But here, I just don't think I'm wrong. So let's look at the odds here. We're gonna do the money line is Tyson Fury at a minus 550. Dillian Whyte is at a plus 400. The over under in rounds here is 9.5. The over is a plus 105. The under is a minus 130. Then there's like overs for particular rounds, like over 7.5 is a minus 190. So Tyson Fury to win by decision or technical decision is a plus 220. Tyson Fury to win by knockout is a minus 140. The draw is a plus 2,500. Dillian Whyte by decision or technical decision is a plus 2,200. Dillian Whyte by KO or TKO or DQ is plus 500. Tyson Fury to win by just a straight KO is a plus 400. Tyson Fury to win by TKO is a plus 100. Tyson Fury to win by disqualification is a plus 10,000. Tyson Fury to win by unanimous decision, meaning it has to be unanimous, is a plus 330. Yeah, I'm not even going to go through all that, but to me, the pick I like is Tyson Fury by KO, TKO, or DQ. I like Tyson Fury at the minus 140. I think that's the safest bet. I even saw a line of Tyson Fury by KO in between round 7 and 9 at a plus 300. I like that one, but I think the best bet here is Tyson Fury at a minus 140. I think that's the safest pick. I really do think Tyson Fury is going to win by knockout, and the odds are suggesting that because he's a minus 140. Him to win by decision is a plus 220. If you do like Dillian Whyte, he's a plus 500 by knockout, and he's a plus 400 just to win. So if you like Dillian Whyte and you think he's going to knock him out, take the plus 500. But the bet I'm recommending here is Tyson Fury by knockout minus 140. And if you want to hedge it, I actually like the over at a plus 105, but I'm going to just bet the stoppage, the stoppage proposition. I'm just going to bet the stoppage proposition here at the minus 140. And yeah, that's the bet I'm recommending. That's the bet I'm recommending. That's how I see it going. BB, I'm getting a question. BB, you still going to be a Fury fan if he ducks Usyk AJ winner? Yes. Fury's the best heavyweight of his era. I think he's better than all those guys. Yeah, I'll still be a fan. I'll definitely still be a fan, without question. Definitely still be a fan. And I'm gonna go live tomorrow. I'm gonna do the live fight cast. Can I at least hedge Fury by UD? I don't. There's really no need for me to do that, but you can if you want. But why? Why do that? You know, why not? Why not just take the 140 and take the over? I think that's the best. How can I say he's the best of the era if he doesn't fight Usyk or AJ? Well, they never fought Wilder, right? Usyk never fought Wilder. He never fought Usyk. Never fought Klitschko, right? Fury was the first to ever decision Klitschko. Pretty close to his prime. And Fury beat Klitschko when he was a 4-1 underdog. Fury beat Deontay Wilder when he was an underdog in both fights, and I think he won the first fight. So I just think this is going to be a great performance from Fury, and Fury will be thought of as the best of his era, even if he doesn't. AJ lost twice, right? And if he loses to Usyk again, right, then that'll just strengthen, Fury's position. Now Usyk, this second fight with AJ, that will be his fourth fight at heavyweight. So he would have to do a lot more to pass Fury, in my opinion. Just only fighting 4 times. Now, granted, him beating AJ, great accomplishment. But we'll see. We'll see how Usyk matches up with the other guys. Now, Usyk is no spring chicken either. He's getting up there in age, right? I think he's like 34 or 35-ish or something like that. So how long can he fight at this top level? Of course, it's my opinion. That's what we're here for. We're here to give opinions. We're and you have your opinion. I have my opinion. Latent. So, yeah, Fury just did it when he wasn't supposed to. He's done it. He did it on the road. He's done it on the road, right? Beat Deontay Wilder at home. Beat Klitschko at home, right? Done it when he was the underdog. Well, granted, Usyk beat AJ as the underdog. That's true. But, it is what it is. All right, guys. That's all I got. Make sure you join us tomorrow night. Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury, live fightcast. I'll be here. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.